Toward the end of May 2019, I came back to Forest Fair Mall. But not just that. I came back for an event, the Dead Malls of Discord Summit. After missing out the first time, I wasn't about to let the second event get away from me. So get some popcorn and soda, spritz on some Bath & Body Works cologne, and put on your best outfit from Elder Bierman. Let's go mall walking at the legendary Forest Fair Mall one more time. Killed. As we walk around back, you find this old parking garage, with vandals at war with nature as both parties try to claim the structure. Was it always like this? Did the parking garage even get used? Today, only a small portion of it is still open for use. And while we're down there, let's take a moment to admire this Forest Fair security car, dubbed by some as a true piece of modern art. One of the few pieces of modern art that I would like. Sadly, it has since been taken away. There's conflicting info on whether or not security has decided to have it towed away, or if it has been stolen by would-be scrap lords without a trace. Although there is a security presence, that doesn't stop vandals from trying to leave their mark beyond the security car. Graffiti tags litter the mall inside and out. Vandals attempt to break glass, lights, and other such objects. Some mess around with the buckets or mop carts. It is quite a lawless place here at Forest Fair Village, and this probably contributes to why security has become increasingly hostile in recent months. But even with the hostile security presence, I always worry of someone just around the corner, waiting to make a move. As we get into the mall proper, I suppose I can start giving the lowdown of the mall's history. On the site of Forest Fair Mall, only Big's Hypermarket was meant to go in the spot along Interstate 275. However, L.J. Hooker was able to purchase the land from Amiga in 1986 and make plans to incorporate Big's into a much larger shopping mall. L.J. Hooker had ambitious plans to bring high-end shopping to regions that didn't have high-end shopping at the time, even though there is a very good reason why places like these don't have stores like Bonwit Teller, Parisian, and Sakowitz. Ooh. The flicker in this mall is terrible. I read. While opening in 1988 with just a Big's and a handful of other stores, the Forest Fair Mall would officially open in March 1989 with the anchors Big's Hypermarket, Parisian, B. Altman, Bonwit Teller, Sakowitz, Elder Bierman, an indoor amusement park titled Time Out at the Court, and an 8-screen movie theater called Super Saver. There were a number of upscale tenants in the mall as well, including Wallaby Bob's, the first brewery restaurant in a mall, and even the first daycare operation in a mall. The Cincinnati Enquirer quoted that this was a mall entering uncharted waters, namely due to Sakowitz, B. Altman, Parisian, and Bonwit Teller being present in a blue-collar market like northern Cincinnati. As we walk around the mall, you will see and hear a crowd of people in the center court. The Saturday me and the others were here, there was a gaming tournament being held in the center court, and this made for quite a lively setting that could be contrasted to the rest of the mall. Getting back to the history, L.J. Hooker was already filing bankruptcy after the mall's opening due to his ambitious expansions into the U.S. market, and that same year in 1989, the Forest Fair Mall would be put up for sale at the low price of $200 million. The mall was already reported as struggling with heavy vacancies. Turns out, high-end shopping within a few miles of Northgate Mall and Tri-County Mall was a bad idea. The bankruptcy also affected B. Altman, Sakowitz, and Bonwit Teller, forcing them to liquidate due to L.J. Hooker's controlling shares in the stores. L.J. also had controlling shares in Parisian, but Parisian would manage to survive and live on. In October 1990, the mall was finally sold to Forest Fair Mall Limited, a joint venture between a few banking groups. And in 1992, the owners announced a plan to reboot the mall as The Shops at Forest Fair, which would focus on different themes for the three wings: the fashions at Forest Fair, the lifestyles at Forest Fair, and the markets at Forest Fair. Dawahars would take over the former Sakowitz, and CompUSA would move into the mall as well. The former B. Altman space would be taken over by Kohl's in 1994. While the reboot did work, and even spurred on developments around the mall would go up for sale again in 1995, as the owners at the time did not intend to maintain ownership of the mall for long. A few bids for the mall were placed, and ownership would land in the hands of Florida-based Gator Investments in January 1996. While we're up here, say hi to Anthony and Matt, and back there is Avery and Devin. Dawahars did not last long and would close in late 1996. CompUSA would close in 1998 alongside Parisian, while Guitar Center would come to replace CompUSA. While new tenants were sought out, it was clear that keeping the mall relevant would be a tall order. Gator Partners would not give up, though, and would renovate the mall over 1999 and early 2000. With assistance from Glimcher Realty Trust, they managed to attract Bass Pro Shops, Burlington Coat Factory, and Steinmart. They even managed to bring in Saks Fifth Avenue off 5th Concept, Media Play, and Steve & Barry's. In addition, they also secured a new Showcase Cinemas and a nightclub called Metropolis, and a children's play area called Wonder Park.
Okay, what the hell?
All of this done by Gator Investments would begin Forest Fair's step towards outlet shopping, which the Mills Corporation would go nuts with, starting in 2002 when they obtained Forest Fair from Gator Investments. The mall would be closed for renovations, and smaller businesses would be booted out to make way for more premier stores. Unfortunately, during these renovations, Elder Beerman announced closure in 2003, as they wanted to focus on smaller markets elsewhere. Despite this, renovations were completed and the mall would officially reopen in August 2004 as Cincinnati Mills. Babies R Us would replace Steinmart, Johnny's Toys would take over part of the former Elder Beerman, and the budget Super Saver Theater would change hands to become Dollar Saver. While Cincinnati Mills had 90% occupancy in 2005, eyewitness accounts reported of some very strange tenants, some of which resembled a stand in a flea market. 2006 would see occupancy start to slump. Again. Media play was out, and Johnny's Toys vacated to make way for Steve & Barry's to take over all of the former Elder Beerman. Big's Hypermarket was also struggling in sales due to its location in the back of the mall, according to Big's president. Between competition with Tri-County Mall and Northgate Mall, as well as the newer Bridgewater Falls, Cincinnati Mills was not going to last long. Amid complications of a scandal in the Mills Corporation, Simon Property Group would acquire the entire Mills portfolio in 2007. Biggs would close up in 2008, along with Borean Christian Stores and Wonder Park. Simon didn't want to be left with this liability, so they offloaded the property to North Star Realty in 2009. With Simon holding the trademark over the Mills name, Cincinnati Mills would be renamed to the very creative and original Cincinnati Mall. While North Star proposed converting parts of the mall for office space and other non-retail concepts, Steve & Barry's would close in 2009 due to bankruptcy. Saks Off 5th, Dress Barn, Lane Bryant, and Guess would all relocate to a new outlet mall. As the mall faded and lost more tenants, North Star would begin to fall behind on taxes, and Cincinnati Holding Company would purchase the mall in 2010, while Showcase Cinemas closed. Things only got bleaker as more and more tenants packed up and left, despite some proposals to revitalize and repurpose the mall, much of which never saw the day of light. Bass Pro Shops initially announced plans to relocate from the Cincinnati Mall in 2013, while the mall would be renamed once again to Forest Fair Village, its current name. However, you might be able to see that Bass Pro Shops has not relocated at all. Needless to say, this mall has effectively died. So, what is the Forest Fair Village like today? Well, the only remaining tenants, a children's play area near the still open Kohl's, Arcade Legacy by the Derelict food court, a private gym near the former Biggs, and Bass Pro Shops are all that remains. A total of 5 tenants this mall has to offer. Maintenance has slumped to basic cleaning, which even then doesn't get very far. Security roams the halls on the lookout for would-be vandals and scrap lords, and Arcade Legacy remains to host birthday parties and the occasional game tournament, like this Memorial Day weekend Saturday. You can imagine the crowds this mall was expected to host, and perhaps it did see those crowds, but this mall was never able to keep those crowds for long. On paper, this mall probably could have done well, but I suspect location, and location contributed to this mall's death. Proximity to Tri-County Mall and Northgate Mall already put this mall at a disadvantage, and the demographics of the area just didn't make sense for massive high-end malls like this. Even outlet shopping just wasn't going to work out. Many strategies, short of tearing this mall down, have been thrown at this place, and while some did work for a short time, this mall ultimately proved to be a failure. I suppose it isn't a total loss, as the people in the center court behind us game away to get on top of the leaderboards. Events still seem to be going at this mall, even if they aren't of the traditional kind. Now, security has become vigilant in recent years. That no pictures policy still hangs heavy among this place. I had been stopped during my weekend here once, and a few other dead maulers have been stopped as well. Some were threatened with arrest, and others, well, they got themselves into situations they probably really shouldn't have. Despite the whole ordeal, I feel this trip was a raging success on my end, as I still got what I came for. Memories, a good time, and lots of documentation. Now, let's get away from the hustle and bustle of the center court and go down towards Biggs. As you walk around, you can hear all sorts of weird noises. A strong electrical buzz kicks in on 10-minute cycles near the food court. Electrical hums can be heard near the children's play area. The sound of high-wattage lamps buzzes through the corridors. It can make an otherwise silent mall sound very noisy. Sometimes, on the right day, you'll find yourself being the only one in the mall's corridors. Security nowhere to be found. You'll feel isolated, alone, like the end of days has come, and you're one of the last people in the city. Or are you? Perhaps there's something hiding just around the corner, waiting to strike. I'm going to tone down the ambient noise for just a moment, so that you can hear the children's play area for itself. In the dead silence of this place, the strangest of noises can be heard. Sounds like someone scored in that tournament back in the center court. I presume that Biggs once opened out to the entirety of this part of the mall after finding a couple pics of the store online. Each drywalled section that was to our left may have led you straight into Biggs once upon a time. Now, the entire building, like the rest of the mall, just sits unused, empty, desolate, and derelict. We still have a few more minutes to the video, so stick around. We're going to get a quick look at some of the mall once more at night. Forest Fair Mall is kept open after usual mall hours thanks to Arcade Legacy, which is open on Friday and Saturday till midnight. However, security will keep a sharp eye on you. You can only stick to Arcade Legacy or the food court. Everywhere else is off limits at this hour.
There's a bit where I was taking a picture. What's up, Heather?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, pretty good.
What?
Smiling.
We had a lot of excellent people here during the Dead Mall Summit. Sal and Sal Sr. of the Expedition Log series, alongside Kristen and Ron of Unicom Productions hosting the event. In addition, we had Anthony and Paula of Faded Commerce, Pat and Heather of Raw and Real Retail, Paul of Retail World, Mindy, Reed, other Reed, now known as Reese, Avery and Jeff, now known as Devin. At one point, we had Ace's Adventures and John Rev. We've had so many people here at this event, it's just difficult naming everyone. I'm sorry if I didn't name you.
Yeah. For the most part, all the boards I pass by seem chill.
You can imagine how dark it gets inside this mall once the sun goes down. Even though there are still several lights on throughout the mall, many of them are small incandescents or decorative fluorescent tubes, all of which are inadequate to light up mall spaces. These lights continue to burn out one by one, and management doesn't seem to care about replacing them. Pretty soon, it'll be a matter of time before the entire mall goes dark, like this media play.
Spook.
But it was a little bit out of the way, so I stopped at the, I guess, Richmond Mall in Kentucky.
There was so much history to this mall, and I wasn't able to get it all.
Do what?
Though, Sal and Unicom Productions do have everything they can find on this place. Unicom especially. If I can't answer a question about this mall, then they can. If you really want to know how much money has been spent on this mall in total, Sal has estimated that it's upwards of $500 million.
Oh, that's where more.
Imagine. $500 million put into this property, and this is what we have to show for it. What's next in store for the great experiment? Perhaps we'll never know.
Oh, they all used to be on? I see why you did the night adventure for the Halloween special.
Unfortunately, we have to part ways now. I do hope you enjoyed this look into Forest Fair Mall. If I ever come back here again, I would need a good reason for it, and permissions. If you enjoyed the video, do drop a like and a comment, and do share this video out there. If you didn't like it, then I guess dislike and tell me what you didn't like about it. In addition, do check out the people that were here for the summit. All of them. I had a blast with everyone and would gladly do it again with everyone. And I suppose for this one time, I'll leave a link to the Deadmallers Discord down below. Things have been a bit rocky, but we're still having a great time. Come join us. And as always, you can find me at minds.com, ko-fi.com, and bitshoot.com. So until next time, this is Doomie Grunt, wishing you and the Forest Fair Mall farewell. It's raining over there, but not here. What the hell, Cincinnati?
Yeah, it's just empty for you.
Yeah.